what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
If the repayment of debt was not suspended, Sri Lanka would have faced a serious crisis. A statement from the governor of the central bank. President requests political leaders to act responsibly in implementing the IMF program. Opposition parties should act responsibly on the economic situation of the country. A statement from Dr. Harsha De Silva.
තන්දි අපි තීරණය කරන්න ඕනේ අපි ජනතාවට විවිධ දේශපාලන පක්ෂ හැටියට ඇත්ත කතා කරනවාද අතිශයින් වගකීමකින් කටයුතු කරන මේ අවස්ථාවේදී විකල්ප දේශපාලන කණ්ඩායම් කරනවාද කියන ඍජු ප්‍රශ්නේ අපි අහන්න කැමතියි.
Opposition leader says did not accept responsibility because the country cannot be developed with those who bankrupted it. Special operation Yuktiya launched across the island to curb the drug menace. 83 suspects arrested. Minister of Public Security says operations will continue regardless of any influence.
Top story for tonight. Floods were reported across several parts of Sri Lanka due to heavy rain.
Floods were reported in many parts of the northern province due to heavy rain in the area. This was the situation in Bandaravanni and Puliankulam in Ottusuttan in Mullaitivu. "100 people from about 31 families are seeking shelter at the Karwelan Kandal school. Disaster Management Centre officers, army personnel and area residents have been working together to rescue those who have been affected by the floods. Several houses located in low-lying areas in Mana have also been inundated. Several roads have been flooded, with the Malvatoya overflowing and the sluice gates of the Abhayavavel being opened. The old Kutlam Trincomalee road across the Anuradhapura sacred city is inundated. According to the Newsfirst correspondent, the road leading to the Anuradhapura sacred city has been flooded at 2 locations. The road from Mihintale to Rambayval through Kanadarava has been flooded due to the incessant rains battering Anuradhapura and the opening of the sluice gates from the Mahakanadarava reservoir. The Kataragama Columbo main road was inundated in Kiripattiya due to the opening of the sluice gates of the Badagiriya reservoir as heavy showers battered Hambantota. Low-lying areas on either sides of the Ging River and the Baddegama Dangoda road as well as the Baddegama Agalia road have been flooded after the Ging River overflowed. Over 100 acres of paddy fields in Pahalamatala have been flooded due to heavy showers. According to the residents, there is no proper mechanism to the rainwater to recede. This is how houses and low-lying areas have been flooded. About 100 acres of paddy fields in Yahangala West in Hambantota have been flooded. This is how approximately 100 acres of paddy fields in Tambala, Polannarua have been flooded due to the overflowing of the Kumbukannarua. Flow of traffic along the Dambulla-Vavala road has been affected after the sluice gates of the Kandalama reservoir were opened. The Galvatiava bridge connecting the Dambulla and the Galvatiava main road has collapsed due to the heavy rains in the area. According to Newsfirst correspondent, the entire road has been closed down. Meanwhile, Newsfirst correspondent said that the travelling across the Galkiriagama Kirala bridge in Kakirava has become dangerous. Several houses in Amagasduwa, Kottegoda Uwaparnagama have been damaged after a mound of earth collapsed on them due to the heavy showers that battered the area. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation said that 45 reservoirs across the country has reached a spill level. 12 sluice gates of the Rajangania reservoir have been opened. Water is being released to the Kalaoya at a rate of 14,650 cubic feet per second. 6 sluice gates of the Runagambehera reservoir have been opened after heavy rains battered Hambantota. 6 sluice gates of the Nachadura reservoir have also been opened. Two sluice gates of the Kalavavar are also still opened. Water is being released to the Kalaoya at a rate of 10,100 cubic feet per second. The spill gates of several other reservoirs have also been opened. About 800 families in the Mathura district have been affected by the floods in the area. 70 families in the Hambantota district and 263 people from 86 families in the Kilinochchi district have been displaced due to the inclement weather. 557 people from 183 families have been displaced in the Bannar district. Over 100 people from 31 families in the Mullaitiya district are also being housed at safe shelters. The landslide warnings issued to 11 districts continue to be in effect. Landslide warnings are in effect in several divisional secretariats in the Badulla, Galle, Hambantota, Kalutara, Kandy, Kegol, Kurunegala, Mathale, Mathara, Nuwareliya and Ratnapura districts.
News First with the people.
Special operations were launched today to combat drug trafficking and organized crimes in Sri Lanka. Over 80 suspects were arrested during the island-wide operations carried out.
The operation named Yuktiya was launched at dawn today. The joint operation was carried out by the police and tri-forces. The operations were launched from the Western Province. "38 suspects were arrested at the Sunhinda housing complex in Vellampitiya. 24 of the arrested suspects were wanted by police for previous offences. 2 of the suspects faced charges of large-scale heroin possession. 4 suspects were arrested for the possession of cannabis and narcotic pills. 1 of the suspects had a warrant issued for his arrest. 200 army officers, 200 police officers and 50 STF officers were involved in the special operation. 400 people and 180 houses were inspected during the operation.
This operation is nothing like the usual operations. This is not an operation to arrest drug consumers. We have identified multiple people in this network through prior intelligence gathering. Our main objective is to arrest the drug traffickers in this network. We will direct the arrested drug addicts to rehabilitation centers.
A special operation was carried out at the Moduravilla housing complex in Panadura this morning. About 30 suspects wanted by police for previous offences and those possessing heroin, ice and illicit liquor were among those arrested. Special operations were also carried out in Anuradhapura today. The Mineria police arrested 3 suspects along with a stock of cannabis during an operation carried out this morning. The suspects were aged 30, 31 and 40. Meanwhile, a special operations unit has been set up at the Sri Lanka police headquarters from today to collect information on drug traffickers. The special unit will operate 24/7. The public will be able to provide information on drug traffickers to the police headquarters via the hotline 071 859 8800. Sri Lanka has launched multiple operations in the recent past to combat drug trafficking and organized crime in the country. The most recent operation was launched in August 2019.
Minister of Public Security Tiranala said that the operation to curb the drug menace in the country will continue regardless of any form of influence.
මට ඕනේ මේ කුඩු විකුණන ඒ ජාලය නැති කරන්න. අපි අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ කුඩු
I want to remove this network that sell drugs. We will definitely destroy this network of those who sell drugs. Many people in the past used to allege that there is no point in nabbing those involved in distributing drugs. They would contact influential people and save themselves. I promise you that as long as I hold this ministerial portfolio, no one will be allowed to save anyone through a phone call. These suspects may be closely associating some of our influential people, but I can promise you that things like this will not happen. There are many obstacles, but I will not falter. I have instructed the IGP and the commandment of the STF to take all necessary measures. I have told them to stop this at any cost, and if there is any issue, I will stand by them. I have also informed members of the underworld not to die in vain. Please stop your criminal activities. If you don't stop, we all know what will happen in the end. Afterwards, they would say that the police shot and killed, but there's nothing that can be done about it. That is what is going to happen in the future.
වෙන දේ අපි ඔක්කොම දන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඉතින් ලොකුවට කියනවා පොලිසිය වෙඩි තියලා මැරුවා කියලා. කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඒ දේ තමයි වෙන්නේ ඉස්සරහට.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has requested all politicians to act responsibly in implementing the program with the IMF.
The President made this statement while speaking at the opening ceremony of the Kerala Convention Centre and Centre for Performing Arts in Kandy today. The construction of the Kerala Convention Centre and Centre for Performing Arts in Kandy under the Kandy Municipal Council began in 2018 and was completed at a cost of 600 million rupees.
Some specialists and politicians are saying that they are going to renegotiate with the IMF. That is a lie. This is not just the IMF alone. How many countries did we speak to before the IMF? We even went and met the leaders of those nations. They say that if we change this program, we will have to begin the payment of loans immediately. That is all there is. If we change this, we will go bankrupt again. Are we going to do that? If anyone says this, they must ask the nation as to if the country would like to go bankrupt again. If they don't want to discuss with the IMF, those against this must tell us what should be done. How are we going to find this money? How are we going to come out of bankruptcy? We cannot take this country forward without those matters being clarified. That is the biggest weakness in our political culture. No one is ready to take responsibility. No one is ready to make the hard decisions. Everyone is looking to please others. They don't think about where the money is going to come from. That is the reason why we are here today. That is why there was no one in May last year to accept this responsibility. That is the reason why I had to take up this responsibility. All I'm saying is that politicians and others who are against these measures should act responsibly.
Samagijana Balavege parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva said that parties need to act responsibly in implementing the IMF program.
Today we are in a dangerous place. We can't comfort ourselves and say that the economy has developed by saying that there are no more queues. The efforts taken by the government to maximize their income has put the people under significant stress. But if the government does not implement these tax regulations, there is a risk of the IMF program collapsing. If that happens, who will help us? Some are saying that we can solve this issue with country A or B. But we have to ask the question whether country A or country B would come to help us if we destroy our economy again. Now there's an election coming. When there's an election coming, people like to hear fairy tales. They say fairy tales like we don't need the IMF, we don't need to increase taxes to maximize government revenue. They also say there's around 50 to 60 billions of dollars which were obtained through illegal means lying in offshore accounts, and bringing them to the country will help to reduce the economic burden. They say that there is no need to restructure government institutions and that there is no need to enter into trade agreements with foreign countries, because if so, they will come and rob our jobs and services. They say that they can't do any of these things, but we have a separate program. And they say that their program can save the people. It is not that simple. These stories are good for people with little to no knowledge. Here we have to decide whether we as different political parties will tell people the truth and ask them to unite with us in enduring and overcoming this, or will we lie to the people, give false promises to the people yet again to win elections and then completely destroy the country within just 3 months of coming into office? We would like to ask other political parties whether they are acting in the best interest of the people. As a member of the Committee on Economic Affairs in the Samagi Chanabalaweke, I don't want to lie and tell the people that there is a way out of this crisis without restructuring the economy and comprehensive economic development. I think it is better to be honest with the people and go home than give millions of people a false hope and doom their future.
මහා ජීවත් වෙන්න බැරි දුකකට මරණයට ඇදලා දානවට වඩා.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says that he did not agree to take up responsibilities as the country cannot be developed together with those who bankrupted the nation.
If the current president is so skillful, why didn't he do anything while he was in the opposition? Why didn't he work when he didn't have any power? Did he do anything? He never did. This is a hilarious situation. After imposing the VAT, the president goes to the hill country. After imposing the VAT, the former president's lackeys are saying that they will rise up as a new force. Someone has said that they will take care of it. I would like to ask that person who came into power saying that he has 7 brains and bankrupted the entire country, do you have any moral right to say these things? I would like to say that the towns and villages in the country are waiting for that person with 7 brains to come before them. There was a conference recently to protect the cattle of the country. At this conference to protect the cattle of the country, the main person who is responsible for the bankruptcy of the country is saying that we didn't accept the responsibility and are trying to contest the presidency now. Today, you can see the wisdom behind the decision that we took. Think for a minute. Can this country be developed with the team from the port tour who are responsible for bankrupting the country? Are you asking us to spend a political honeymoon with a group of thieves that defrauded the country and stole state assets?
Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe has said Sri Lanka would have faced a serious crisis if the repayment of debt was not suspended. He made this statement speaking at a conference titled Sri Lanka's Future Beyond the Economic Crisis.
We had only $25 million in reserves in a country that had to pay back $6 billion of debt in 12 months. We didn't even have money to service our short-term debt. At that time, we discussed with the government and pointed out these matters to them, subject to the approval of the cabinet. A decision was reached to temporarily suspend the repayment of debt. I must say that this was the best decision that could have been taken at that time. I have seen some people say that it is because we announced bankruptcy that we are here today as a country. What we did at that time was temporarily suspend the repayment of debt. Technically announcing bankruptcy and suspend the payment of debt are two things. If one announces bankruptcy, we are saying that we no longer had the means to pay debt and we are selling all of our assets and paying off our creditors. We temporarily suspended the repayment of debt to prevent a situation like that. We informed our creditors that we don't have the capability to repay the debt right now and requested them to restructure our debt and temporarily suspending our debt repayment until that is done is something different. Although we say that we will be able to pay our debts in the future, there has to be someone who guarantees that we will be able to pay our debt in the future. The IMF provides a guarantee that Sri Lanka will be able to pay back their debt. I don't believe that you and I would have been here if you didn't do that. We took the best decision that we could have taken at that time.
Is it true that there was a possibility of discussing with creditors and resolving the issue without temporarily suspending the repayment of debt? The governor of the central bank also responded to this.
I hear some people debating, saying that instead of suspending the repayment of debt, we could have contacted someone over the phone and gotten the debt restructured. Nowhere in history has a loan given to a country been restructured over a phone call. That is a complete lie. Some people say foolish things like this is an excuse, but I believe that the people understand these matters.
The governor of the central bank also responded to allegations that the people had to be burdened with many taxes due to the decision to seek assistance from the IMF.
People should be asked if they want the VAT to be increased to 18% or the income tax be increased to 45%. Those are two choices we have. The best way of reducing the tax burden on individuals is to distribute the tax burden among many. I don't know any other way that this can be reduced. A professional who is a friend of mine said, "Governor, I like paying taxes, but we can't see anything happening even though we pay taxes." I responded saying, "If you want to see what is happening, go and look in the mirror and see. How did you follow your education in this country? How did your son study at the university? Where is your son working now? If he is working in the state sector, the government is paying his salary. You have come to where you are professionally with the money of the taxpayers. If everyone says that they are not going to pay taxes until they see something happening, the tax burden of the few will increase. The VAT will have to maybe increase to 20%. If not, the personal income tax of the person who pays 30% will have to be increased to 36%. Those who pay income taxes will continue to pay. Tax evasion is rampant in this country. The other important matter is governance and corruption. Because of bad governance and corruption, many people can evade taxes. That too should be addressed.
Gypsies live in concert with Sirasa TV, where music meets the spirit of the season. Christmas with Gypsies. Back after 25 years to Vihara Mahadevi Open Air. Sirasa Flashtown 23 Gypsies live in concert. Featuring BNS, Hana and Nadima. Get your tickets now. Media sponsors Sirasa TV and TV1.
Welcome back. Freedom People's Congress parliamentarian Professor G.L. Piri says that they will work for the well-being of the people along with the Samagi Janabala Vegaya.
Parliamentarian Professor G.L. Pires expressed these views following a meeting with the Anuradhapura Bishop Norbert Andrade. He spoke about the future plans of the Freedom People's Congress consisting of parliamentarians Dr. Nalaka Godaheva, Dr. Charitha Herath and Professor G.L. Pires. The priority at the moment is not to form alliances but to implement a collective program. Instead of us working separately, we need a platform in the opposition to unite . Parliamentarian Professor G.L. Pires expressed these views following a meeting with the Anuradhapura Bishop Norbert Andrade. He spoke about the future plans of the Freedom People's Congress consisting of parliamentarians Dr. Nalaka Godaheva, Dr. Charitha Herath and Professor G.L. Pires. The priority at the moment is not to form alliances but to implement a collective program. Instead of us working separately, we need a platform in the opposition to unite and give the people some concessions. The Samagi Janabala Vegaya is the largest opposition party. Therefore, we hope to work closely with the Samagi Janabala Vegaya with mutual trust to implement this collective program for the well-being of the people. This is an urgent need that cannot be postponed.
People took to the streets of Colombo once again, calling for a change in the system.
Another week has passed and it's another Sunday. The people of Colombo have gathered near the Timbirigasai junction again, demanding for the bare minimum, a good standard of living, freedom of expression and a political system free of corruption.
In your 72 or 73 years, you've been a politician for 43 odd years. You are part of the problem, Mr. Wickramasinghe. You are part of the problem. So when you say, trust me, I will have the election next year, sorry. We are beyond that. These are our lives you're talking about. We can't just put our trust in you on a person who has broken his word so many times.
The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka has found 3 people guilty of causing this economic crisis. And on Friday, I saw one of those people being elected again as the leader of a party. I'm just wondering why the people haven't learned from these mistakes before, right? We keep electing the wrong people over and over again, and then we cry that our country is in shambles. So here we are again, putting somebody in the power seat who we know shouldn't be there, who we know has bankrupted our nation, who we know has looted millions, if not billions. Where are we headed?
Unless there is law and order and justice, and by justice I mean equal justice and equal law and order applied the same way. You don't need new laws, you just need to apply the laws equally to everybody, regardless of position in public service or private service or friends of political parties. It has to happen equally, it has to be meted out equally.
The Pathfinder Foundation has formed a study group of experts to develop a blueprint and framework for Sri Lanka to double its economic growth by teaming up with India. It emphasizes the need for Sri Lanka to act fast, not wanting to miss out on the current economic and geopolitical situation, fearing it may repeat past mistakes of not capitalizing on similar opportunities.
The Pathfinder Foundation has formed a study group of experts to develop a blueprint and framework aimed at doubling Sri Lanka's economic growth rate through accelerated economic integration and infrastructural connectivity with India. The framework document is expected to be formally launched in March 2024. It highlighted that while foreign investment into many regions is falling, investors are flocking to India due to its large market and emerging middle class. Through an accelerated economic integration and physical connectivity strategy with India, Sri Lanka could take advantage of this momentum and easily double its economic growth to 6% per annum. India is already the largest source market for Sri Lankan tourism. It also pointed out situations where in many ways Sri Lanka also missed the opportunity presented during the early stages of China's economic rise. Today, China is an important investment partner for Sri Lanka, although geopolitical realities will frame how this relationship can be managed. Once this blueprint is complete, Pathfinder will present it for discussion in Sri Lanka and internationally.
It has been reported that a large amount of potato seeds provided to Sri Lanka by the World Bank to be distributed to farmers has begun to rot while it has been stored at a facility in Kuppilan, Jaffna.
21 metric tons of potato seeds received under a grant from the World Bank's Integrated Modern Agriculture Development Project was stored at a facility in Kuppilan, Jaffna. These potato seeds are worth about 13 million rupees and were to be distributed among farmers at a discount of 50%. Jaffna GA Ambalavanar Sivapalasundaram said that these potato seeds were brought to the country last September under an aid program for farmers. The GA of Jaffna visited the storage facility in Kuppilan today after receiving information that these potato seeds had started to rot. The GA of Jaffna also said that he received many reports that a bacteria has infected the potato seeds at the storage facility. A discussion regarding this situation between the GA of Jaffna and other stakeholders is due to be held tomorrow.
An important event in the Ahead program, which is aimed at developing the higher education sector in the country, took place in Colombo on Friday. This program is funded by the World Bank and implemented under the Ministry of Education.
Accelerating higher education expansion and development is an operation funded by the World Bank and implemented under the Ministry of Education. The objective of the operation is to develop the higher education sector in the country. The activities conducted by AHEAD are categorized into 3 areas: increasing enrollment in higher education in priority disciplines for economic development, improving the quality of higher education, and promoting research, development, innovation and commercialization, which is known as RDIC. Many distinguished guests attended Friday's event, which was a key step in the RDIC category of the AHEAD program. Project Director Professor Chandana Udavatta introduced the project.
So this was started in 2017, but the operation started at somewhere in the mid-2018. So the project was badly affected by the COVID pandemic and followed by the economic crisis. So in spite of those things, the project has gone for their targets, and we have officially closed the project on June 30th this year. Then it is extended by another 6 months, so which ends end of this month. So 31st of December 2023, so we will close down the AHEAD operation. This project has run in 3 different objectives in order to achieve 3 different objectives. The 17 universities were benefited together with the SLIAD, and also 6 non-state higher education institutes were also benefited.
The journey began in 2018 to strengthen the research, development, innovation and commercialization in universities, as these are extremely important next step in the development of higher education in the country. Under 7 competitive funding schemes and 2 rounds of funding, 89 university research projects were funded, along with 12 research projects from non-state higher education institutions. Those who successfully completed the projects were recognized yesterday. Through these efforts, 429 full papers have been published. The number of conference papers presented amounts to 1,247. The wealth of new knowledge created through research must be used to benefit the private sector and society. Among the distinguished speakers at the event were Professor Senaka Rajapaksa, Senior Professor and Chair of Medicine of the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Colombo, who spoke about building knowledge through research. Dr. Harsha Trupane, lead economist of the World Bank, who talked about the importance of research and innovation for economic development, and Manjula De Silva, former CEO of Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, who spoke about the university-industry collaboration and the industry perspective. Geethanjali Ranawaka, Director General of the National Intellectual Property Office, participated in the awards presentation. The speakers echoed the importance of UBLs towards valorization of research in Sri Lanka and were unanimous that the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education must continue to invest in RDIC activities if Sri Lanka is to see its inventions as integral components of the global value chain. The private sector, especially the ones with manufacturing capacities, must work closely with universities if we are to see future developments. Professor Tusita Abethunga, lead academic expert, research and innovation of AHEAD of the Ministry of Education, especially appreciated the important work of the project contract staff as well as the WIPO and World Bank. Technical support was also provided by the US Department of Commerce, Commercial Law Development Program for Consultation and Training, and the World Intellectual Property Office online courses were valuable to do this transformation in Sri Lanka. MTV Channel Private Limited provided extensive support in creating awareness about the program throughout the years it has been in operation.
France has called for an immediate and durable truce in the Israel-Hamas war, saying that it is deeply concerned about the situation in Gaza.
France has called for an immediate and durable truce in the Israel-Hamas war. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna added that too many civilians were being killed. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen said a ceasefire would be an error, describing it as a gift to Hamas. The UK and Germany earlier called for a sustainable ceasefire, but stopped short of saying it should be immediate. The French Foreign Minister arrived in Tel Aviv today for a meeting with her Israeli counterpart Eli Cohen. Meanwhile, aid trucks entering Gaza from Egypt have been boarded and stripped of their supplies amid severe food shortages. The UN Palestinian Refugee Agency says hungry people are helping themselves to food, making it almost impossible to distribute aid.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care and good night.